dusty edge of the forest to the other, and on one side of the road iron lanterns hung on iron hooks, illuminating the path with a spectral blue light that never went out. When Heike was very young, her mother had led her out of the village and down the west road. The heels of her mother's boots made a solid thumping on the stones in time with the rustling of her bright skirts. Heike, her small hand sweating in her mother's grasp, hurried to keep up. Mist crept from between the tree trunks on either side of the road, but never moved past the glow of the lanterns. As the last cottages of Greymist Fair disappeared behind them, Heike's mother stopped and kneeled beside her. "Listen to me, Henrika." Hilda was calm and spoke softly. "It's okay to come down the road. As long as you don't stray from the path, you will always be able to find your way home, and nothing bad will happen to you." She released Heike's hands and began to retie the small red ribbon at the end of Heike's braid. Her mother had quick, deft fingers, tailor's fingers, and the ribbon went back in place without a strand of hair slipping free. "If you leave the road, there are creatures in the woods that would steal you away and eat you up," her mother said, tugging the end of Heike's braid just once, gentle but firm. "You must never go into the woods, Heike. Do you understand?" "But you go into the woods," Heike said, suddenly uncomfortable with her back to the trees. "I do," said her mother. "I go to speak to the witch, to make sure she and her warg stay far away from you and everyone else in the village. I can run very fast, and that keeps me safe." Her mother had let Heike turn and peer between the tree trunks to see that there was nothing there, and then led her back to Greymist Fair. When her mother was still alive, Heike had no reason to leave the village. After her mother's death, she went only as far down the road as necessary. It had been 2 years. Heike was 18 now, and she still wondered, sometimes, if she would ever see a glimpse of her mother between the trees. Either the ghost of who she had been, or the shadow of the warg she'd become. The afternoon was cool. Heike marched along the west road at a brisk pace, her berry basket swinging in one hand and her satchel slung across her chest and slapping against her thigh. It was early enough in the day that the light of the lanterns was unnecessary, but still they stood lit along the road, keeping the mist off the stones. Though sunlight never breached the canopy of the trees, the forest had its own kind of light, a muted brightness. Cries of mysterious animals echoed from deep in the wood. Heike focused on the swishing of her skirts and the thump, thump, thump of her boots. She'd inherited most of her clothes from her mother, including the bright skirts and the boots that never seemed to wear thin, and having them made her feel safe. She'd heard some travelers say that the road to Greymist Fair took only hours to traverse, while others said days. Some said they'd met merchants and adventurers who had walked the entire length of the road and never found the village, despite that the road ran straight through it. For Heike, the trip out of the village to the bridge over the Idle River took an hour and a half if she walked quickly, and the trip back the same time. Not 10 paces to the left of the bridge, partially cloaked in the dense underbrush of the forest, was a large red berry bush. A week ago, she'd found the bushes along the road bearing fruit, though it was nearing winter now, and they only bore fruit in spring. There had been a bush on the right side of the bridge as well, even closer to the road, that she'd tried to dig up and replant near her cottage. But the bush had grown small and sickly, never producing any fruit, as if taking it from the forest had drained the life from it. Today, the Idle River flowed lazily under the stone bridge, like it could feel winter approaching and was preparing to hibernate. Heike stepped off the road and hurried to the red berry bush, flicking her basket open and plucking berries the size of her thumb with trembling fingers. Her legs shook, her stomach twitched, and she pressed her lips together to hold in her nervous giggles. A bird fluttered off a branch overhead. Heike snapped the basket shut.